Hello everyone, this is Mr. Informal back with the podcast. I'm sorry about last week's podcast missing. I was busy doing a lot of things, designing a lot of things, making a lot of things. But now we are back with the podcast, regularly programmed schedule, podcast number 14. Again, this is Mr. Informal. Check out my website at mrinformal.com for the latest and greatest tech and fashion that matters. Check it out. Again, that's mrinformal.com. And let's talk about our topics for this podcast. First and foremost, let's talk about the big one, which is LVMH, Louis Vuitton, refused to sell their stuff, or actually the whole LVMH conglomerate refused to sell their stuff or their items or their products at Amazon. They don't want to sell it. Second one, H&M and ZARA joins Louis Vuitton and Hermes as the top best fashion brand. It's quite interesting. So you're going to hear my take on that. Third thing, the CEO of UNIQLO, fast fashion, basically says that a company is nothing without a soul. You're going to hear quite an honest opinion about that. I have a very strong take on that. The last thing is car tech. I mean, what can you say? As technology move forward, including cars nowadays are having so much connectivity, text. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of electronics to go wrong in cars these days, but it has its advantage and disadvantage. So you'll hear my take on that. And so let's start out with podcast number 14, number 1. So topic number 1, LVMH will not sell their products on Amazon.com. Now, as you know, Amazon is the biggest e-tailer, the biggest website seller in the world. They're pushing billions. I would not be surprised in the next couple years or 5 years they're pushing trillions in sales. But LVMH, the luxury conglomerate, which owns a lot of companies such as Donna Karan, Louis Vuitton, and so, even Fendi, will not sell their stuff. What does this mean? Why are they basically the I don't know how to pronounce his name, but King Jacques Guoni says that the business of Amazon does not fit with LVMH, full stop. What does that mean? Well, there's a couple of things that it means. One, it could mean that we don't want to sell ourselves short, or we don't want to take on our brand's reputation. We don't want to cheapen our brand reputation. That's one. Two, they have their own, every one of their brands have their own online store. So instead of going through Amazon, convenient returns, practical shipping, they want to sell their own stuff. If you go to LouisVuitton.com, you can order the stuff. If you want to go to Fendi.com, you can order the stuff online. Not only that, they have other boutiques that sell their stuff. So they don't want to hurt their boutiques, or they don't want to hurt their partners. So that's number 3 right there. And they don't want, I think another thing that they don't want is they don't want counterfeit stuff, because if they do decide to sell their stuff online, then it could mean that other sellers out there could just say this is original, this is authentic. So I think they don't want that to happen. But I will go back to number 1, which is brand reputation. I think that they don't want to do that because it would lower their reputation. Their reputation won't have a strong, how should I say this? Will not have a strong name to it. and people will think, oh, LVMH, I mean Louis Vuitton decides to sell it on Amazon, so you know what, they're selling out. And so that's what they think on that. And not only that, I mean, they're doing good with their own stuff. I mean, a lot of people order online in their own website, and they're not missing a beat. They're still making profits. And so what's the point of me what's the point of me selling to Amazon if I'm doing well with my own online shop? The only benefits of selling to Amazon is the practicality of return and shipping, as you have Amazon Prime free 2-day shipping and the returns too. And if you do return with Louis Vuitton, it takes a while. Not only that, you gotta pay for free 2-day shipping. So that's the practicality of selling to Amazon. But in the end, I think that as of right now, I don't think it's a good statement from them that they don't want to sell to Amazon. But I do agree. I do disagree. Let me repeat it. I disagree with the statement saying that the Amazon does not fit with LVMH beliefs or philosophy. I disagree with that, because they're basically doing what Amazon is doing, is providing it to you online. It's just so Amazon is just much more convenient and practical. Not only that, Amazon is also selling other luxury goods, and other people don't have a problem with it. I just think that whenever you're such a luxury brand at such a high quality brand name, you don't want to take that risk. And this is one of those times that this conglomerate company does not want to take that risk. And this will affect a lot of consumers, because if they do see, and if you do follow LVMH or brands that LVMH owns, you'll see that, oh, they don't want to sell to Amazon. Well, it's not so bad, I guess, but I think the conglomerate company just doesn't want to sell itself short. And not only that, they don't want to decrease their brand reputation. And so that was my take on LVMH refusing to sell products to Amazon.com. Again, this podcast will be in my website. Check out MrInformal.com. Again, that's MrInformal.com. On to the next topic. We have H&M and ZARA joining Louis Vuitton and Hermes as the world's best fashion brand. That is quite interesting. Two of the fast fashion company joining the top end of luxury brand. So check this out, right? Let me give you some figures. So H&M about 23 million, and ZARA about 17 million per year, right? And if we look at Hermes, we're looking at about 13 million. Gucci about 10 million. Cartier about 8 million. So as you can tell, the numbers are up there. But just don't look at the numbers, okay? Because we all know H&M is fast fashion, low cost, reasonably priced goods. Same with ZARA. I wouldn't say they're low cost. I would say they're reasonably priced goods. And this statement that says the world's best fashion brand, I don't think it's just the numbers here. I think it's more of what they do behind the scenes or behind the numbers. Because one, H&M does care about being ethical and being social responsible, or socially responsible, because they're taking in organic cotton. They also research their factories. They also have strict regulations and protocols based on their vendors. Whenever they do business with the vendors, they also they also market ethics and socially responsible process and actions. With ZARA I think is much more strict. But I think ZARA, to me, is not as fast, but they more into quality and actually I shouldn't say quality, but they're more into marketing and design, because Zara in terms of design is much better than H&M. Do not argue with me, it's just how it is. If you go to Zara and you look at the design between and compared to H&M, it's noticeable. Zara is just above and beyond H&M's design. Just don't get me wrong, H&M have always have partners with high-end brands. They also do that collaboration thing, and H&M designers do have potential to be much better than Zara. I would not be surprised if some H&M designers move to Zara, because Zara to me is much more of a risk taker because their design is different. But going back to the topic, so like I said, in terms of H&M being joined with Louis Vuitton and Hermes, I think in that case it's figures. I think it's more of a sales and profits. I don't think it's more of a quality and design. As for Zara, I think it's more of marketing and design, because Zara, like I said, in terms of design, much better than H&M, and people love Zara's design. And in terms of marketing, there's no doubt that Zara is better at marketing than a lot of companies. Would I say it's better than H&M? It might be even, but I still think H&M is a better marketer than Zara. So that's my take on it. Now, here's another thing though. If they do join as one of the best fashion brand, Louis Vuitton is seen as a marketer and luxury, not as a not as a designer, or not as a company that designs well. It's more of a marketing and luxury to me. And I guess but I think the name would fall under the luxury. And Hermes, it's the same thing. But actually, I would put Hermes as a brand name. Actually, no, let me shorten that. Hermes is more of a name and reputation, not as a design, not as a marketer, because I don't see a lot of marketing for Hermes compared to the other three. So that's how I see it as. So I'm actually surprised that H&M and ZARA joins Louis Vuitton and Hermes as the world's best fashion brand. But you can take that however you want. But that's my take on it. I don't think it's more of profit. In case of ZARA, I think it's more of in terms of H&M. But if somebody tells me, you know what, H&M and ZARA is in the same level as Louis Vuitton, Hermes, one, people would laugh at you. People think you're joking because people don't see it that way. It depends on what you're meaning as the world's best fashion brand. So that's how I see it. And so that concludes this second topic right here. So on to the third topic. So I'm reading this article from Business of Fashion. An article, they interviewed the CEO of UNIQLO, Tadashi Yanai. A person who elevated himself from nothing to absolutely one of the richest fast fashion brand in Japan and also all over the world. So this article is insightful, it's deep, it's well thought out, it's well written. You gotta read this. Just go to businessoffashion.com and search for UNIQLO boss. So basically, he said in the article, without a soul, a company is nothing. I have a very strong opinion about that because UNIQLO to me is fast fashion. It started out as a very good company, but I think when they expanded all over the world, or especially in the US, they kind of slacked a little bit. What I mean by that is, let me go back to the quotes, okay? Without a soul, a company is nothing. Do I think UNIQLO has a soul? No. And I will tell you why. One, I see Uniqlo in line with Forever 21, H&M, ZARA. You could put Love Culture in there, or Charlotte Russe, or any fast fashion. Don't get me wrong, when they start out, most of them would probably have a soul, have a foundation, and have a name, have a reputation of what it is. But Uniqlo, as of right now, I don't see that. Do I see a CEO? Do I see a brand representing the CEO's belief? Without a soul, a company is nothing. A CEO can only say so much. And you have to think about it. Do a lot of brands have soul? Do every brand have a soul when you buy their design? Now, let me give you an example, okay? A Seattle brand named Filson. If you look at it as of right now, when you look at their bags, just not reading about the history of the company, but just look at their items, feel it, look at it. You can see a certain soul to it. You can just feel it. You can, even if you, I have their bags, rucksack, duffel bags, and backpacks. And every time I carry it, every time I use it, I can feel the soul. I can feel the bag calling to you, or all the bags wants you to do is just take care of it, and the bag will take care of you. And even if you look at another brand, okay, let's take a look at brand. I'm thinking of a fashion brand, okay? I gotta really think deep because there's not a lot of fashion brands out there. Let's look at Goyard, okay? Goyard still does not have a clothing line, or maybe they do. I'm not really updated with them, but to me they have a soul because they have not sold themselves. They have not sold their soul, or they're not a sellout anymore. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They're not a sellout compared to Louis Vuitton, because Goyard still keeps its foundation, it still has its name, and it still has the quality that their philosophy represents. Not only that, you tell people what Goyard is, they're like, I don't. What is that? Most of them don't know that Goyard is actually competing with Louis Vuitton instead of bags, in terms of accessories, instead of leather, in terms of canvases. And going back to Uniqlo, I don't see Uniqlo having a soul. So if a boss is telling me that Uniqlo has a soul, I don't see it. Because if Uniqlo has a soul, then where is it? Because I don't. Every time I go to the store, do I feel a certain vibe to it? Do I feel a certain something? Do I feel like the garments is calling me? I don't feel it that way. Now there's times when a few occasions I see certain jackets or jeans that, this fits well, it's calling me. But as for the article itself, it's very insightful, it's very informative. It makes me like this CEO. It's just too bad that the company that he's running doesn't have a soul. But as for the CEO, I think the CEO is great, and Uniqlo's profit sales has gone up ever since they expanded a lot more, not just in Japan or in Asia. And that's always a great thing, because business is booming and profits, but in terms of the relativity of foundation and having a soul within a company, it is not there as a consumer. But if you're one of those type that you're a fan of Uniqlo and you think they have the soul, then that's just you. But for me, if I do come in there, I should feel like I'm feeling something, but I just don't, because Uniqlo doesn't have a soul. And so that concludes my take on that topic right there. So on to the fourth and last topic, Again, check out the website mrinformal.com. This podcast will be in the website of mrinformal.com. I go by the name of Mr. Informal. This is podcast number 14. If you are just tuning in, or if you just somehow skip the previous 3 topics, but it's okay. At least you are listening and you are getting a lot of insights from me. So number 4, this is something that affects us all the time, especially when we are driving, is car technology. It is ridiculous how fast the technology and the electronics are in cars nowadays. You get assisted parking, you get side mirrors, side cameras, radar detection, automatic brakes, automatic connection, internet connection, GPS. It can be overwhelming depending on the car you have and depending on what kind of car technology it has. I mean, the dash on the cars these days have a lot of buttons, or sometimes touchscreen, and sometimes you get lost in it, and sometimes, actually no, most of the time you get distracted when you're driving. So let's talk about this one by one. Okay, so car these days have operating system in the dash. What I mean by that is the same operating system that's in your phones. Apple iOS or Android, actually just Android, sorry about that, Android operating system, or it could be a Windows phone, Microsoft Windows. So you can connect via USB or via Bluetooth, and a lot of them nowadays have a touchscreen, and you have to press so many things just like your phones to get to where you want to be. And it can take a lot of times. I mean, it has its advantage due to the GPS, due to cameras and all that, but we gotta slow down here. Not only that, car makers are charging you a lot of money just for these, and if you can buy a tablet just for $200, I don't see why it shouldn't be cheaper, because again, it's wholesale here. Second thing is connectivity. You can again connect via Bluetooth or via cord. The fastest way of doing this is just do it via cord. To me, Bluetooth is sometimes not connecting right, sometimes it's reliable, and sometimes not. So you can even mess up, and then you gotta press many buttons. So that's another take. So my advice is always connect via USB if the car is capable of that. It's just much faster. You just connect it, boom, it connects. And computers in the car, it's ridiculous how many microchips there are in computers nowadays. Again, it can be overwhelming. Not only that, okay, check this out. So computers in the car, computer nowadays have internet, right? Radar, cameras, electronics. So I was watching this news, right? Did you know that a hacker from somewhere far away, it could be overseas or in your city, can actually control your car mechanism? It can start your car, it can even drive you, it can even change the way you drive. It's ridiculous. It can even mess up your dash, it can even access onto your car, and even just take it out for a test drive somewhere far away. It's crazy. And look, I'm not trying to be negative about this, but to me, if you're driving a car, just focus on driving. Stop being distracted by all these electronics, or stop worrying about if your car doesn't have Bluetooth or doesn't have this, doesn't have that. To me, driving is all about experiencing from point A to point B. It's the joy of driving. I mean, I know just times when you get tired of driving, but depending on the car, sometimes the car can reward you just by driving and focusing on the road, and not worry about electronics, not even worrying about electronics breaking down. And the fourth thing, which I kind of alluded to, is assistance. Meaning radar detection when you're backing up, when you're about to hit a car, side cameras when you're about to change lanes, when you're about to change turns, GPS. It tells you where to go, obviously, and then sometimes it can even parallel park for you because it has all those radars. So that's crazy. So that's a very great thing in terms of safety. I love car technology which has that. Any cars that have that is always a plus to me because it makes my life easier and I can focus on actually driving and also minimizing the accidents that can happening, especially minimizing the repairs. But here's another thing, okay? With these electronics, when your car goes through maintenance or repair, you know what the car dealership do or their service repair stuff? They connect your car into a device. It scans or it diagnoses it. It scans if there's anything wrong, and then boom, if it finds an error, they suddenly replace your car. Like, are you serious? To me, you gotta look at the physical stuff. You know, if your car is breaking down or you know what's actually wrong with it, you can't just let a computer decide for you. Not only that, if your dash system is now has been broken or is not working out, you basically need to replace the whole dash. That's crazy. You shouldn't have to go through that. But you know, nowadays, to me, electronics can break faster than a car engine. Because to me, a car engine is much more simpler. It's actually physical, and you can actually see what's going on. And I don't want myself to be relying on technology itself. To me, I should be relying on my driving skills, on my awareness of the road, and how I'm doing as a person whenever I'm driving. Because with all these car technologies that helps us improve ourselves in terms of radar, cameras, but what do the other technologies do for ourselves? Do they make things better? I mean, they make things more convenient, but in the essence, when you get down to it, does it really make us a better driver, or do they actually assist us to minimize accidents? For me, the bottom line is they don't. If my mom and dad could drive in the 90s or 80s and still live, then what does that tell you? Again, what do I need internet on my car? Not really. Do I need connectivity? Not really. I mean, I do need GPS and cameras and all these radar for safety. I do need that, but in terms of voice command or even just getting calls from somebody else, I mean, not really. I don't see that as an advantage as a driver. To me, in the long run, I'm talking about long run here, I prefer cars that are dependable, reliability, quality, and just as long as it's working, that's all I need to have. And so that concludes the fourth topic and also concludes this podcast number 14. I hope you learn a lot, and you know, if you have any comments, let me know. Write it down below or type it down below. Let me know. The website is mrinformal.com. I go by the name of Mr. Informal. Again, check out mrinformal.com where this podcast is going to be posted, and also it's also going to be posted in my YouTube channel, Mr. Informal. And I will see you in the next podcast.